Father, we thank you for this evening and this time that we have. We just ask that you give this council wisdom tonight. We just pray that your presence is in this place, and we love you, Jesus. In your name we pray. Amen.
Let's face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda, here are statements from persons wishing to address the council. We have one, that's Mr. Basil Zangari.
Good evening, Mayor Johnson, City Manager Henderson, and esteemed council members and citizens of Hillsborough. I'd like to start with some heartfelt applause for the transparency we've all been promised. Because nothing opens up government like hiding the Roseanne Limited Internal Affairs investigation behind a pending litigation smokescreen and shipping it off to the Attorney General so you can legally keep it under wraps. Bravo. Next up, Terry Dickman body cam footage. You claim you can't release it because of a license plate privacy issue. Never mind that, as of September 1, 2025, the law has already changed to allow recordings with license plates, not have to redact it or repress it. And yes, that's the same footage where officers escalated a citation into an arrest of a 65-year-old man with a pacemaker. But sure, let's pretend we lack the technological capabilities to roll out a license plate. Here's the kicker. The city pays for Adobe Premiere, the gold standard of video editing used by folks like me every day. Yet, when I tried to put redaction software on tonight's agenda, Mayor Johnson and City Manager Megan shut me down. They wouldn't even let me say 2 words about it. Not on the agenda, they say. Laughing out loud. Because accountability is so overrated. Redaction software costs roughly $900 a year, including support and training. That's about 0.018% of our police department's $5 million annual budget. Meanwhile, Whitney, just 9 officers, operates on $800,000 annual budget. It's only about 17% of Hillsborough's. Even though they're roughly 1/3 our size, so where exactly is Hillsborough's money going? Tony K's personal pocket? Exotic vacations. A secret squad of PR influencers peddling the illusion of public relations. While our city, streets, water lines, and sewers crumble. For months, City Manager Henderson has assured us we're a transparent city that holds our people accountable. Those sound bites are nice, but like fairy dust doesn't fix potholes or protect a man with a pacemaker from wrongful arrest. It's time for the lies to stop. Leadership. It's your move. Either step up to the mic and deliver on transparency, or step out to someone who values the truth and take your seat. You work for us, the taxpayers. We fund the city. We deserve honest answers, not hollow promises. Thank you. Now let's put redaction software in next year's budget and prove that accountability is a slogan. Thank you.
Moving along to the consent agenda, deliberate and act on the approval of minutes to the regular meeting on July 1st, 2025. Act on the approval of bills. Deliberate and act on a resolution accepting the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve the preliminary and final plat of Munns Edition in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Hillsborough on a certain tract of land being 2.977 acres in the F. White survey, abstract number 1014, and being the same property by reference as recorded in volume 2351, page 615 of the official public records of Hill County, Texas, also known as 225 Hill County Road 3131. Deliberate and act on a resolution accepting the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve a meritorious exception as described in the City of Hillsborough zoning ordinance, section 5.33.8, in order to allow exceptions to the sign ordinance pertaining to signage on additional building walls located at property described in a deed recorded in volume 2246, page 345 of the official public records of Will County, Texas. Also known as 238 I-35 Service Road Northeast, submitted by Baker Sign on behalf of GRP Hillsborough Land Partners LLC and Chili's. Deliberate and act on a resolution denying the increase in rates proposed by Encore, filed on about June 26, 2025, and authorizing the city manager to execute all necessary documents. Council, does anyone have any questions about any one of those consent agenda items? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. City Secretary.
Councilmember Fleming. Councilmember Lloyd. Councilmember Robinson. Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Richmond. Councilmember Jolly.
Moving along to the regular agenda, hold a public hearing, second reading, and deliberate and act on an ordinance establishing regulations for murals in the city of Hillsborough. Mr. Manway.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. You all held the first reading of this on June 17th. The Main Street Board reviewed this at their meeting on July 8th, and they recommended approval. The whole purpose of going back through historic preservation and Main Street, of course, was to address changes that were made when all of the design guideline type stuff was removed from the proposed ordinance. When the Main Street Board reviewed it, they did catch a couple of wording issues in the section on enforcement. So their recommendation included correcting the spelling of a word and changing the word shabby to deteriorate. So any murals that would be peeling and deteriorating would constitute a code violation. If there's any questions, we have to entertain those.
Council, questions from anyone? This is the second hearing. We'll open it up to anyone in the audience that would like to address this specific agenda item in regards to murals. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion. City Secretary.
Councilmember Fleming. Councilmember Lloyd. Councilmember Robinson. Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Richmond. Councilmember Jolly.
Next item on the agenda, hold a public hearing, second reading, and deliberate and act on an ordinance establishing regulations for fences and amending section 3.1122 regarding fences for swimming pools in the city of Hillsborough.
When this came before you all for the first reading, there were concerns raised regarding the visibility triangle. So that definition has been amended before you to measure that based on the curve or the edge of the street instead of the right of the property line. And then also the 2-foot height that was in the previous definition, that was removed because that's addressed elsewhere in the ordinance already in regards to, things not creating a visual barrier, fences not creating a visual barrier in the public right of way. So that 2-foot didn't need to be there. It's also addressed with the maximum height for edges to front yards being 3 feet. One of the other things you all can consider is the distance of 25 feet versus, changing that to 20 feet. I've got some maps in here to show what that would look like at different locations. One of the things to point out is that the whole purpose of a visibility triangle is to allow for a clear line of sight when approaching an intersection. But looking at this building, just visualizing what 25 feet is, just at that intersection right out there, you can see if you imagine where that last parking space is and then just go a little bit closer to the intersection, that would be 25 feet. So those two lines on there are comparing 20 versus 25 feet for the visibility triangle. And it doesn't even come to the point where it would intersect with the actual property that this building is on. Looking at another location, this is the city administration building at 214 East Elm Street. And there you see just the corner of the property just barely touches the 25-foot visibility triangle. And then you see the line for the 20-foot also. This is just 25 feet being shown on this map. This is the entrance to phase 3 at Acton Road addition. So they're still a great distance away from the corners of those properties. And their fences wouldn't be able to extend off of their property anyway, so. This is the corner at Quick Trip at Elm and Co Street at the back of that property where that fence is located. Those lines are in 5-foot increments, and what you see there is that fence comes closer to being a 40-foot visibility triangle, so that fence would not be affected by a 20 or 25-foot. And this is the corner of Elm and Show, and that fence just barely touches a 25-foot visibility triangle, so it wouldn't be affected by 25-foot either. I think those are the triangles I put in. If there's any one of those you want me to go back to, just to kind of visualize what 25 versus 20 feet would look like, or I can answer any questions you might have also.
Council, any questions from Mr. Arnold?
My question goes back to who's going to enforce this? And do we have adequate staff to enforce them? Because I feel like our code enforcement is pretty well laid down at the present moment.
That question would probably be better answered by someone that is in a different position, not so much me. It would be inspections, it would be handling the fence permits, but beyond that, I'm not sure that I would be the person to answer that question.
Not just adding the code.
So we have two or
In addition to.
Okay. And then what about grandfathering in ones that are in existence now? Is that-
So then fences that are in existence now would be grandfathered in unless they're deteriorating or pose a safety concern.
Thank you.
Council, any question? Study of our public hearings, we'll open it up to anyone in the audience that would like to address this specific agenda item. Hearing no comments, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
And I might jump in really quick. On that motion, include how much of a visibility triangle you would want if you want 25 or 20.
What is the recommendation of the city on that, Richard?
The recommendation that I would suggest as planning director would be 25 feet.
All right, can
Makes a motion to approve at 25 foot.
A second.
we got a motion and a second?
Councilmember Fleming. Councilmember Lloyd. Councilmember Robinson. Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Richmond. Councilmember Jolly.
Next item on the agenda, hearing and deliberating on the city manager's report.
Mayor and council, I think most of us have been here before, and so we know that this is the second four of our 8 goals from our strategic plan. Goal number 5 is build better infrastructure. As you know, that's one of our key challenges. We are getting close to completion on the street and infrastructure project. We are hopeful that it will largely wrap up next month. Now, there will probably be some little punch list items that extend after that, but we're hopeful that there will be paving in the middle of August. It would be great if it could start before school starts. That's certainly the goal, but given the weather that we've been experiencing, I think mid-August is probably a safer estimate. We are materially complete on the industrial water tower project, but we've been having real challenges with Texas Water Development Board getting that last draw paid for. So that's creating some cash flow issues, which is, never helpful. Okay, this is just to sort of visualize the relative progress against the different major infrastructure categories. finally hear back from Texas Water Development Board on Friday. We will not be getting any of the $30 million that we applied for, because at this point, the request is timed out, essentially. We do, however, have a request in for the full $50 million worth of work. The $30 million, that particular funding stream could only be used in areas that are residential. The need is actually greater than that. The $50 million request includes not only the residential, but also the downtown commercial area where the majority of the older pipes are. So it's a little bit of a gut punch to be knocked back to starting point, but it was probably 6 months ago that we put in that application for the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. My understanding is that generally by this point in the year, they have identified the projects, or at least the list. Not the final list, but they've got basically an investment plan that they propose. So far, we have not seen anything yet on the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. And the way that it works, if they publish the list and we're near the top, we think we'll probably get invited to submit a full application. But we were near the top and waiting to be invited to submit a full application that we've been waiting all this time on a previous ask. Now, again, my understanding is that since this funding stream is sort of a bigger component of what they do, it's a little bit more regimented and a little bit more predictable. So hopefully that will translate into moving things along a little bit more quickly and more predictably. Here's hoping. As you know, this is kind of where we are with streets. We had an agreement, kind of verbal agreement with the county to perform some chip seal on streets that our street crew had gotten ready to be surfaced. In back and forth, in part, no thanks to the weather that we've had, some touch-ups need to be done on those streets before they're going to be ready to seal, but that's kind of the process that we're in now. We looked at the street evaluation last time, kind of in more detail, so I'm going to kind of skip through it. And the Cliff Notes version is our streets are really, really bad. An estimated $55 to $65 million in water line replacements, as we know. Let me get back to, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's not in this presentation, but there is an estimate of, I believe, about $300 million worth of street work. I mean, just leave that number right there. $55 to $65 million in water line replacements. Let's see. Sewer, our process in the sewer system is to undergo the initial study. We have approved a scope of services and fee proposal. We do have a signed contract and survey is underway. And the process there, the wastewater collection system is divided into basins. And so each section sort of drains into a basin. And then from those basins, you've got a lift station and a force main that takes the sewage to the sewer treatment plant. So the goal of this study will be to evaluate the 3 basins that are in the worst shape and in the locations to collect the most water. So this will not be a citywide evaluation that would be incredibly costly. This will be to do kind of the most priority stuff that if we fixed those things would have the greatest impact on the immediate surrounding areas in that basin, but also on the wastewater treatment plant that then has to treat the volume of all that water that gets there. Okay, goal number 6 is to deliver essential services. So one of the things that we have kind of in process right now is we'll be bringing you soon a scope of services and fee proposal for a facilities master plan. Not sure what that will cost, hoping that it will be under $50,000. The reason to do it and to do it now is to evaluate all of the facilities that the city currently owns and figure out which ones we can do without. If we can consolidate and make our operations more efficient in a smaller number of facilities, we may be able to divest ourselves of property that somebody else could do something good with and either lower our cost or create some income through the sale of surplus property. There are a number of city facilities that when it rains, water comes inside. You know, it's a long list of needs, but we can't do something about it until we assess it and figure out exactly what we're dealing with. And in the process of all of this other stuff, we need people who know what they're doing to go through all of these buildings and tell us, this, it makes sense to expand. This, if you're gonna have to, in order for it to serve you well for another 20 years, you're gonna have to do major work, it's not worth it. This is a good location, but a bad building. We need that information, and so we'll be coming back to you with that scope of services and fee proposal. Talked about street maintenance. This is the time when we need to get a lot of utility cuts done. You know, for the dry up and stay dry, we can make some progress there. Let's talk about public safety. So we are in the process of going through the departmental policies and personnel needs in advance of the budget. This fiscal year is going to be kind of it's going to be a lean one, and so we're going to be going through all of those departmental policies and the personnel situation to see what we can recommend in terms of both increasing effectiveness, but also being a little bit more efficient with our resources. And Assistant City Manager Tony Kane will be in charge of that process, and I'll be working closely alongside him. In the fire division, we are also going to be reviewing departmental policies and personnel needs in advance of the budget. On the fire side, I will be taking the lead on that. We have a pending investigation from the Texas Fire Commission. That investigation has not been concluded. We have a meeting with them next week on July 23rd. So we expect there will be a report that comes out of that, which we will share as soon as we receive it. We talked about water. We are still working through we have a new reporting tool that will allow customers to monitor their water use, and if there is a leak, to be able to identify it sooner so that it doesn't impact their bill, so that customers can see it on the customer side like an app. We're in the process of figuring out how that works so that we can then tell customers how that works. I see Ignacio is nodding because it's so helpful with electric customers, yeah. We are also working with the developers on the system improvements coming alongside those new developments. We've got some repairs continuing at Wallace Park, and then we're continuing to work out, you know, those kinks with our new solid waste service provider. Every month there are fewer. It's a big change after 25 years with the same provider. I skipped through all that fairly quickly. Any questions on any of that before I go on? All right, business attraction, still working on projects, Project Dispatch, Project Freeze Pop, Project Treasure Hunt. Retail Coach is still working with prospects, looking at entrepreneurship and small business. The Main Street program is working really well. They've got a bunch of committees working on various things. And we have an intern specializing in development and real estate who's working closely with staff on the parking study. That's going to be a key part of the library project, is just understanding how all that's going to work together. Looking at redevelopment at the outlet mall, Blazer Retail is still working with those 6 prospects. Now, of course, we're able to talk about some of those that have become public. We anticipate Panda Express to begin construction in mid-August. Chili's is going to start soon after that, beginning of September. Project Nosh, with which the council is familiar but we're not yet able to share, they have signed all of their documents. So this is the one, one of the ones that we're kind of waiting on. They've signed everything. We anticipate that they're going to begin construction maybe early November. We do not have a timeline for Waffles. As you guys know, mall demolition has begun. If you've been by, it's looking super different out there. Our staff is doing weekly calls still with the developer, and we're beginning to work on what the design is going to look like for the buildings that will remain. We're thinking something like this. So we're keeping some buildings, as you know, we're keeping some buildings. Those buildings need to not look like a, 35-year-old, 40-year-old outlet. So the idea is give them a little bit of a facelift. And to give you kind of an idea of what this looks like now, this is the kind of the proposed next version of the mall. And let's see, there. So I've got the font at the top kind of lined up with the pad size at the bottom. So that's not the best, most helpful way of looking at it, but so you can see Project Nosh is the furthest to the north, and then that's a building that we don't necessarily have a tenant for yet. After that would be Chili's, then a question mark, then Panda Express, Project Joe, question, and Waffle House at the southernmost location. So the buildings that are staying are these buildings on the north side, and then we still anticipate some kind of, logistics use on the south side with two large buildings down there. Again, long-term plan is for the north side to be anchored by a big retailer of some kind, but I think we all have recognized that nobody super big is interested in Hillsborough until we get a little bit bigger ourselves. And rather than go with a permanent commitment to something that's kind of medium, we're better off doing a facelift, getting some tenants in there, and enjoying what we have for a few years while we absorb some of this anticipated development. Questions on any of this? Great. So, goal number 8 is to enhance quality of life. We continue to enjoy our amazing library. Lots going on. Summer reading program is pretty much wound down. We've got bids in hand for the work on the windows. Continuing to work on the expansion project. Justin and I sat down with some USDA rural development paperwork this morning. Parks and Rec, baseball, softball. We did host a state tournament over Independence Day weekend. Had some challenges with that because the weather has not been super helpful and we've had some equipment issues, but we got it taken care of. And continue to kind of try to tee up the project at the Texas Theater. That can't be something that the city just pays for, Go a few slides back and you know what, right? But what we're hoping is that we can inspire enough community involvement that we can bootstrap it. Because what the community has told us over and over again is that their top priorities are entertainment. So if we can make it work, then we're going to try to make it work. Next step, we had Main Street Architecture here. We're getting next step to probably for a structural engineer to let us know that everything is good before we start messing with awnings and stuff like that. But we're trying to line up the dominoes in the correct order. Staff activities and events, we have several vacancies. We're holding most of those for now. There are a few positions that we are continuing to try to fill, but given where we are budget-wise, some of them are going to just have to wait. Dave Pruitt, longtime fire department major, has announced his retirement, so he is off the job now, and his official last day is August the 2nd. We have added Courtney Phillips as administrative specialist over at Fire, and Ella Webb is the name of the intern that's been helping us with development and real estate stuff. We had Fun in the Park this last weekend. That was a success. The music that we all enjoy at the Yard downtown is on hiatus during the hot months. They'll kick back up again in September. And our major next downtown event is Autumn Fest, which will be in October. Any questions for me? Oh, I'm so sorry. Back to public safety. Recognize the concern about the redaction software. We're happy to put that item on the agenda. The reason it's not on the agenda tonight is because we don't know what our current capabilities are. So we talked about a $900 a year solution. We also talked about the Premiere Pro, I think that's right, Adobe Premiere. Nobody at the police department knows how to use Adobe Premiere for video. We're trying to figure out if we can do that with the current video situation that we have. So we're going to figure that out first, but then we'll be back to council.
Next item on the agenda, hold a closed session under the divisions of section 551.074 of the governing code.
effective first pay period of August 2025.
I move to approve.
Got a motion, got a second? Second.
Councilmember Fleming. Councilmember Lloyd. Councilmember Robinson. Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Richmond. Councilmember Jolly.
Okay, having no further business, this meeting is